What is going on, everyone? We are done. That is it. That is a wrap for the CTF for Cyber Awareness Month. And we are here to talk about the epic conclusion of this contest. Everyone from around the world, wherever you're watching this, whether you're on YouTube or LinkedIn, drop into the comments below wherever you are watching this from. We want to hear where everybody is at. What an epic ending to an epic month. We got to jump right in and talk about the final day of the contest. What happened? It just seemed like everything was just going nuts. Tell us a little bit about the end of the competition.
Oh my goodness, the rooters take it. I'm surprised I even made it to the stream today because I still haven't really picked my jaw up off the floor when I was watching everything go down in the Discord. As soon as the challenge dropped, I knew that it was going to be an intense fight for the top here, but the rooters did end up taking it, and that was the Black Cat 2 challenge, probably the hardest challenge that we had in the CTF. It was a photo finish, and it was absolutely amazing to watch. Black Cat 2 taken by the Rooters. The Rooters take first. Congratulations to everybody in that team. It was an amazing, amazing finish.
Incredible. Tell us about the energy in the Discord on that final day. What was it like?
Well, I mean, when every day that we had a challenge drop at 9 a.m. Eastern was pretty exciting, and you could get a pretty good feeling for how the challenge was going based on if people were talking a lot in the Discord, or maybe there was like something went wrong with the challenge release and people were saying, hey, I can't get to it or something like that. So you could always kind of tell, the vibe in the Discord when the challenges dropped was always like pretty fun to watch. But the final day was just chaos, and it was absolutely a blast to watch everybody try to figure this one out. I want to say that most of the challenges in this CTF took maybe between 5 to 15 minutes for the first team to first blood the challenge. And Black Cat 2 has the record from opening of the challenge until first blood, which was, I think, an hour and maybe 10 minutes. Don't quote me on that, but it was over an hour. And so that alone is enough to show just the intensity of how this the final challenge went. I had an absolute blast watching it go down in the Discord.
For those of you that are just joining and have no idea what we're talking about, we had a month-long CTF put on by Huntress, and it was an undertaking of both ingenuity, innovation, and honestly endurance. I mean, every day there were challenges coming out that people could enjoy and try their skills against. The Black Cat challenge, what did that entail, and what were some of the interesting ways that people were going about solving it?
So I like to say that, like, in a CTF, it's a little bit like a video game or any other kind of puzzle. And specifically, the Black Cat 2 challenge was a sequel to the first Black Cat challenge. And I like to think that, like, with any good video game, the final boss fight takes a lot of things that you've learned over the course of the video game, and then you have to put them all into practice to beat the final boss. So Black Cat 2 was the final boss in this case. There was a little bit of malware analysis. There was a little bit of reverse engineering. There was a huge curveball OSINT challenge where once you performed the malware analysis and the reverse engineering, you figured that you had to go out onto the open internet and find a specific picture of a painting. And once you put all those puzzle pieces together, you could decrypt the files that were encrypted by the Black Cat ransomware utility, and then you could submit the flag that you have decrypted. So there was just a set of these like little challenges, little pieces of the other different challenges that we put together for the CTF that you all had to combine in a certain way. And the team that was able to do that effectively and quickly took the first place in the final challenge.
Fantastic. I want to hear from each and every one of you. What was your biggest takeaway from this experience? Because, I mean, you all had been working pretty steadily at the beginning of this, and you worked all the way through to the very end, and you still have a little bit of work to go. But what has been the biggest takeaway from each of you? Let's start with you, Alex.
I think no matter how many times we prepare for something, somebody will always find a way to do something different with what we created. Whether that's break it or find a new way of solving it. Yeah, it's just been like we had a lot of adaptation along the way. Every plan we had to modify as we built it. Then lay the brick in front of you as you walk, type of thing. It was a lot of fun though.
Yeah, that's cool. What about you, John?
Yeah, I can riff off that a little bit because I think, hey, honestly, the next thing is just like, well, we're going to do this again. Like we know 2024 Cybersecurity Awareness Month is going to be coming up sometime soon. And that means, look, how can we make this bigger and better? A lot of lessons learned, a lot of things to improve on. Really fun couple of crazy stories we could recant from our experience putting on this one for the whole past month. But now that we know what we're up against, now that we know, hey, the real hunger and desire for this thing from the community, which is incredible, you know what? Hey, let's hit another home run next year.
Heck yeah. What about you, Matt?
I think we built the airplane while it was in the air a lot of the time while we were putting this one on. But the concept has been proved, right? This was the proof of concept for our next run around. And I think we already have some pretty cool ideas for like things we could do next year. At least I have a couple cool ideas for how we can enrich the challenges, kind of maybe build a full storyline, like a story arc for all of the challenges to kind of follow a through line. But yes, there were little blips and little missteps along the way. We've taken those. We've read the feedback from the community, overwhelmingly positive, but people did point things out. Challenges can be tweaked, difficulty curve can be tweaked, the scoring system can be tweaked. So we've listened to that, and I think we're gonna sit with that feedback for a while, and we're going to work and iterate and implement until we can continually build to a better, bigger, more fun, more fireworks CTF next time.
Oh, can't wait to see that. That's going to be epic. I mean, a lot can happen in a day, and even more can happen in an entire month. From all the experiences, the stories, good, bad, indifferent, what have been some of the most impactful, favorite, or infamous stories that you all have had from the CTF? Let's start with you, John.
Oh, are we opening the can of worms early? Hey, we're jumping into the lion's
Let's
den here.
do it.
I'd love to sprinkle and tease, maybe kick up the fun favicon little shenanigans here. So for folks, I don't know if anyone was tracking, and this is maybe some of the fun behind the scenes. I don't know if anyone even noticed, but on the Capture the Flag platform on huntress.ctf.games. For the longest time, the theme, the embedded design and layout of the website actually had a call out and reach to an external website or like a different site altogether for where it would receive the little icon that's displayed up in your browser beside the address bar. And it turns out that was maybe a lapsed domain name. So there was some cool ingenuity, a little bit of extracurricular hacking, maybe some add a band where folks could, hey, literally snag that domain and pop up their own little favicon or icon. So it was kind of cutesy, kind of wild. Hey, they could just slap whatever picture they might like. Noted it's this super small, like 16 by 16 icon. And thankfully, they were in good spirits. That was kind of fun morale. They didn't do anything nefarious with that. But it was a good little gimmick and something for us to chase down while we got to clean that up. But hey, I think we made the most of it. Alex, you turned it into one of the lulz challenges. Hey, one of the fun banterous things on the side.
Yeah, actually, for those who paid attention, which I was surprised no one reached out about it because I was thinking that they would have claimed it and they would have been like, "Hey, I saw what you did there." But when they did that, I was like, "Oh man, we have to get back at them, right?" And because originally they didn't have their email posted on the website, they have since updated it where it shows their email to reach out to them, but they didn't have that there. So I was like, "Okay, we got to at least acknowledge this, but also maintain the CTF." So I had taken the time to in the LOLZ4 challenge. Do some steg inside of the image itself. So if anyone was part of that specific challenge, I can share my screen really quick. Inside of this, the helmet, which is linked on the actual web page, it has a flag built into it. So for those who were in here and got rickrolled and saw the lovely video and were able to play with the fish, they understood that these were just red herrings, of course, but ultimately we had a pretty cool acknowledgement back to them, which stayed throughout the rest of the competition.
Among other favicons that were posted, we got John's LinkedIn profile photo at one point. I think that's what clued us all in because John DM'd me and said, "Okay, did you change it to my LinkedIn profile?" And I was like, I wish I had thought of that, but no, I did not do that. And then we all had this moment where we were like, wait, then did you change it? No, I didn't change it. Did you change it? And we were all like, hold on a second. That's what eventually clued us in. And then the other one was Alex's profile. I think your Discord profile photo, I think, was up there at one point. So yeah, nothing nefarious, thankfully. So whomever decided to do that, we appreciate. You didn't put anything, troublesome up there. But we did, once we saw that, we were like, we've had our fun. Let's shut it down. So we made the code change to be able to make sure that favicon was not hijackable. And then we changed it and turned it into a challenge like that.
That's awesome. What about you, Matt? What was your story that stood out the most?
I don't really, there aren't a lot of specific instances. I mean, we've already covered like the favicon hijack was definitely hilarious, and we all had a good laugh about that. But I'm just in a more general sense, I'm really just more overwhelmed and appreciative of the community for this one. CTFs are a celebration of the community. It's where we come together as hackers and fight on the friendly fields of capture the flag strife, right? And so I wrote this in the blog post for the retrospective, and it's just like I really appreciated the perseverance and the willingness to forge forward into the unknown that the community shows every CTF, but this one was no exception. And I saw so many people like learning and coming up against challenges that they had no idea how they were going to solve, and then figuring them out, and then posting in the Discord things like, wow, I've never seen that concept that this challenge actually covers before. I'm super interested in it now. I want to go research that. And like, you got to understand, everybody that's listening to this, as a challenge designer, there is no better feeling in the world than when I wish I could bottle that feeling up and sell it on the shelf, because that is like the name of the game when it comes to CTFs. It's so cool to watch people who've never even used AAD internals before. And then when they did the M365 challenges, say, wow, I didn't even know you could do that. I want to do that more now. It's just a unbelievable feeling. So thank you sincerely to the community for allowing us to experience that. And I hope the challenges lived up to your expectations. So that's it for me. Just appreciation for the community and everybody that was out there fighting the good fight on the fields of friendly CTF strife out there.
Yeah, I love that. And we're definitely going to touch on the education side of it, because I'm sure there was a lot of takeaways there. But Alex, I wanted to get to your favorite story of the entire month.
It's kind of a toss-up between the LOLZ5, which was pure OSINT, or that one, and then the sixth one. I think the sixth one was great because it took people 3 days to solve it. I hid out the flags everywhere, right? They were in my Discord profile picture. They were in our bot. They were on the web page. They were pretty much everywhere in there. They were in former challenges that we had. And a shout out to Jamie as part of Huntress, who actually gave me the idea of using clear text encoding as part of a stag challenge. That was actually really cool. You could hide the flag inside of null characters, so it didn't look like there was anything in there. That was one, but the alternative was actually the OSINT one, where it took a team of, I don't know, 6 or 7 people about a day and a half to find out where I took a photo and a video that I had put on TikTok about 4 months ago, trying to get Jose Monkey, who's a very well-known geo searcher, to go and find it, and he hadn't found it yet. And they found it, and they found it because I had made an Instagram post, which I'd forgotten about, saying that my car's range was 1 Buc-ee's, because I made it from the Buc-ee's in Calhoun, Georgia, up into Kentucky. So I was like, okay, I can make it to 1 Buc-ee's, right? And then that day we were actually going north to Canada, so they figured out that I wouldn't be going south, really. And then they just kind of went down 75, and they were trying to find out specifically where I was, and they found it. So that was pretty cool. Definitely a toss-up between those two.
And I want to point out, just for everybody who might not be aware of what we are referring to when we talk about the LOLs challenges, the players and the teams that were doing that to figure all of that out for that LOLs challenge were doing this for no points. They were doing it strictly for the love of the game in this case, because the LOLs challenges were impossibly difficult. They were intentionally made to be difficult. They had no point value associated with them. But like, that's the spirit of the CTF, is people being like, I won't get points for this. This is really just for the bragging rights and the glory of it. Let's figure it out. And they had to go on a crazy wild goose chase to figure it out. That's amazing. Like that is the spirit of the CTF right there.
It is. And I'm sure there are a lot of people that were able to flex a lot of muscles that they may have never flexed before. And Matt, you touched on the education component and people saying like, wow, I didn't know you could do that, or I never even tried that before. What were some of the other takeaways that you all saw in the Discord? People talking about either different challenges or technologies, or maybe even a new way of doing things, and even learning from each other. What were some of the things you all saw there?
I can dance with this one a little bit because I think there is one example that really sticks out in my mind for like one of the coolest parts seeing in the education, especially in the Discord, because all of the challenges or a lot of the core challenge set was meant to be very slanted towards blue team or cyber defense or malware analysis. Hey, some cyber threat intel here in the mix, and hopefully things that are practical for a lot of that type of industry work. But it's interesting because we would try to showcase again genuine real malware samples or digital forensics work to do and incident response, etc. The thing is, some of the malware samples even are fun cutesy gimmicks for the blue team side, but maybe some of the red teamers and the ethical hackers that were in the audience that do, I don't know, maybe do offensive security for work got to think on. And I saw the message in the Discord for like the indirect payload challenge that would stag and separate different embedded components of the payload across different redirects. Someone had said, that's a really interesting technique, and I might use that for like a beacon or an implant that I'm building for even the pen testy red team side. So that was really cool experience to say, you know what, we're helping folks not just in blue team cyber defense, but maybe some fun ideas for some cool campaigns if you are doing that offensive pen test red team side.
Awesome. Anybody else?
Go for it. All you.
Oh, I was just going to say, like, I think too, people are trying to do the right thing, and they ultimately wanted to make sure that while this is a CTF, we're doing the best possible practices along the way. And I'm going to call out one specific example where an individual reached out about a password that they had found for M365. And so, like, I've worked for this cloud provider in the past, right? And I kind of understand how it works. And I think the way that John had set this up was so that the user could log in to the M365 account using PowerShell. But ultimately, if you did some process inspection, you would see the password in clear text for our M365 account. And so they reached out to us and they said, hey, by the way, this is how you're doing it. It could be kind of dangerous. And to their point, like, yeah, technically it could. And technically that's exactly what would be done in a real world scenario. Obviously, everything we had was a very controlled environment. If someone did try to do something malicious, it could have been taken down immediately. But the point is that they still did the right thing, which was reach out privately and say, hey, FYI, this is being done. I found this, and you might want to do something about it potentially. So I appreciate the integrity that everybody had. It was a really cool thing to see in real time.
You had something, Matt?
So my thought was for the Snake Eater challenges, the 2 Snake Eater challenges. So there was Snake Eater 1, Snake Eater 2. 2, of course, is the sequel to 1. The interesting thing about Snake Eater, the first one that I developed, I wrote the application with a combination of Python-related utilities. So the first one was PyInstaller, so that's you can wrap up a Python script into a standalone Windows portable executable. But the second one was PyArmor, which is meant to obfuscate Python source code and make it really, really difficult for reverse engineers and analysts to try to figure out. Now, my intention with the first Snake Eater was to make the reverse engineering path so difficult that people and the players of the game would immediately just say, okay, we're going to, put a pin in that. We're going to go over to the dynamic analysis. So it was kind of a lesson in effective triage. However, there were a number of stalwart analysts that went after the reverse engineering static analysis of Snake Eater 1 to the point where they had to continually iterate on the available tools that are out there right now that can help you de-obfuscate PyArmor code. So unfortunately, if you tried to do that, the way that I wrote the script, the current offerings for things that would de-obfuscate PyArmor code are not effective. They are built for earlier versions of Python, but the players of this game had the wherewithal to say, we're going to create a new set of tools to de-obfuscate and improve upon the earlier builds of the things that we could use to de-obfuscate the PyArmor code. So what I mean to say from all this is that as a result of a CTF challenge, there is now, I believe, a new set of PyArmor de-obfuscators, or at least people are working on a new set of PyArmor de-obfuscators that they solved the first Snake Eater with, and then used the lessons learned from the first Snake Eater to solve the second Snake Eater challenge. That blew me away. Again, when you think about like from the challenge author's perspective, just how amazing is it to watch the community evolve and learn about this stuff? Another moment where I was just absolutely stunned with the ingenuity and the determination of the players to figure that out. So congratulations to everybody who decided to tackle it in the static analysis route. That was no easy feat, and I'm extremely impressed in what you came up with for solutions for that one.
Yeah, real world impact for a CTF. You can't get any better than that. What are
True.
some things you're not going to do next time? What are some things, that was a good idea, but we probably won't do that next time?
Oh, I have one right off the bat. So everybody point and laugh at the red teamer, the professional red teamer that can't write malware to the point that it immediately gives up the flags when it's put in virus total. So I take responsibility for that one. Wasn't thinking about everybody approaching it from the virus total side of the house. So I'd say good on you for using all of your resources. Okay. Virus total, triage, those are all legitimate resources for malware analysts to use. So good job using the resources available out there. But I will say next year, do not count on that being a solution to the malware analysis challenges.
Oh, virus total, easy flags. What about you, John or Alex?
I feel like I'm stuck, putting on the spot. I can't think of anything right off the top of my head. And I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but
You're perfect. You're a perfect
no.
CTF creator.
I would love, because this was a fun, random, sporadic, spontaneous idea. Hey, this is how we can go crush Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And it was like, what? 2 weeks to October, we're going to make it happen. Host a month-long CTF, fire on all cylinders to make sure we get a game in action. And with that, a couple things can fall through the cracks. I would hope, and what I want to do, and okay, maybe not do next year, is miss out on some of that play testing and that quality assurance. One of my favorite stumbles, and I know, hey, we're just getting into our own self-critique here, but we had a challenge release called Tragedy, and it was meant to be some, hey, malicious Office document or Excel, Microsoft Office and Word document that would be macro enabled. But hey, it's tampered with, manipulated in one way or another. You would have to kind of put the puzzle pieces back together. The gimmick and the stumble was that we released that challenge with the flag included in the downloadable static attachment, which meant that there was no challenge anymore. You were just given the flag and it was free points. So that was a whoopsie. That was a fun mistake. And maybe things we won't do next year. We did end up, hey, releasing another Tragedy Redux or a revision of that so that we still could maintain the activity. But it was fun, and we always kind of have to, I don't know, laugh at stuff we can improve on. Maybe we'll tweak for next year.
Yeah, I dig that. Alex?
Next year, I'm not going to let people down. I think I'm either going to, I know. Yeah, we're not going to do any Rick rolls next year, unfortunately. We stopped doing that after the feedback we received. But I think more seriously, I'm going to be taking the time to ensure that the server is actually capable of handling as many requests as people did. I understand that no matter how many times we tell people certain things can't be used or shouldn't be used, or if we just say use this specific tool, some people won't read the directions. I'm actually guilty of that myself with many things in my life. So, I ultimately think we will make sure that is more secure, or there's backups, or there are even an option to run it locally if the server does go down.
Gotcha. I know we're pretty much done. I know you have some comms that needs to go out. There's this thing about prizes. What can people expect about the follow on from the rest of the competition?
Yeah, so hey, we are about a week after the end of the game. But look, we do want to be getting out some of the communications and prize notifications for those top 10 winners. Hey, forgive me, forgive us. They're like, whoops, we are still ironing out the kinks to make sure that's a smooth and streamlined experience for you. So we expect to get those out very early this week, if not this week, to get the comms out and about. But we do want to make sure, look, the real tip of the spear here was the fun and the experience with it. The next kind of order of business is the infrastructure and the Capture the Flag platform itself. How long will the challenges remain available? Hey, we have left it up and running for about a week now after the game, which was already 31 days long. So hopefully you've had plenty of time for write-ups and all of that fun. But again, I do hope to probably tear down the infrastructure and spin down the platform early this week, if not the latter end. But once we get those prize emails out and about, we will probably, hey, start to close things down and, prep for next year. other things kind of in the peripherals, forgive me for rambling here, but our Discord server, I think we will end up probably boarding up the windows, locking the doors, making that read only, just to say, you know what, hey, we've had a blast together, but we will see you next year, and we'll keep chattering through Twitter and LinkedIn and I don't know, everything else that we're up to for these webinars, for these live events, all the great next things that Huntress is up to. But we'll see you on Discord sometime soon again.
Very cool. Let's go through final thoughts. Final thoughts about the month, cybersecurity awareness, the CTF, hacking in general. Give us your final thoughts for everybody that's watching today. Let's start with you, Alex.
Oh, wow. On the spot there. It was fun, but it gave a real life glimpse into like what's actually out there. And I feel like those who did all the challenges had an opportunity to learn something really cool and see how people work in their day to day. I know a lot of people were kind of split on the amount of help that others received in the Discord, but also at the same time, I'm sitting here supporting that behavior. I'm supporting that because I think it helps others understand specifically how things are done, and it helps make our world a little bit more secure. So like when you understand how the box works, then you can actually apply the box to other things, right? So that ultimately is what I think was my intention, hopefully, from this. And I feel like we accomplished that. I feel like we contributed to the awareness month and got people to be a little bit more aware of things that go on in the real world. And I don't know, I just that's something that I really appreciate throughout the month.
Yeah. What about you, Matt? Final words.
I'm already working on Black Cat 3, so everybody get ready for that.
Get ready.
No. Or am I kidding? I don't know. Am I? You're going to have to find out next year. Again, just one last time, I want to just take one last lap around this track. This is a celebration for the community. I'm just blown away by the effort and the traversal of the challenges and the learning and the people helping each other out. And I will say the same thing, Alex. Yes, hints and helping people out, and people were maybe saying, hey, why is there so much help going out in the Discord, but this was all a simulation. This is all a game, right? And if you take the veneer of the game away from it, we're all analysts trying to get better at our trade, our craft that no one is ever going to become a master in. We're all apprentices here, and we all have to continually learn. And I saw that happening over and over and over during the course of the CTF. So it's just an absolute blast. I can't wait for next year. So thank you again from the bottom of my heart. It's hard to find the words. It really is hard to find the words, but I appreciate everybody in the community for coming out for this one and playing fair and playing clean and having a good time with it.
Fantastic. John, take us home.
Oh, goodness. Well, hey, one of my favorite pieces of feedback that I did see fly by in a lot of the chatter was, you know what, this didn't feel like a normal kind of classic cookie cutter capture the flag, because it didn't feel like a race. It didn't feel like, hey, some pressure, some anxiety to keep crushing and moving through and, oh, competitive. We want to climb to the top of the scoreboard. They felt like it was some opportunity to learn and have the education, and that was really, really cool. And I'm glad they got to have that feeling, especially for you know what, hey, take your time for the 30 days for Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And look, I get on my soapbox for this, but I do think it's the biggest takeaway. Sure, it's the end of October. Cybersecurity Awareness Month has come to a close, but that doesn't mean that cybersecurity just goes away or evaporates. Hey, it's what we live and breathe here over at Huntress, and the capture the flag might be taking its little hiatus and sabbatical, but it'll be back next year. And let's keep that awareness and real, keeping our heads to the ground, staying with it, keeping on the pulse of everything that's going on in our industry. And I hope, maybe this event was a testament to that. We can celebrate it again, and we'll keep up the party.
Keep up the party. And yeah, we might have to wait till next year for the Huntress CTF, but that doesn't mean the party ends there. Of course, we have Tradecraft Tuesday. If you are not familiar, Tradecraft Tuesday is something that we do once a month where we talk tradecraft. We go deep on many different facets of cybersecurity, hacking, and the like. This next Tradecraft Tuesday, we're going to have Patrick Wardle, and he's going to be talking about all things Mac OS and malware. But then also we have a very, very cool special event coming up. We're having a deep dive discussion for Microsoft Defender for Endpoint Security, and we're going to be featuring the authors of Microsoft Defender for Endpoint in depth, Paul and Joe. They're going to sit down with the Hunter CEO, Kyle Hanslevin, and CTO, Chris Bisnet, to talk in depth about the world of endpoint security and the benefits of Microsoft Defender and what they can bring to the world. So we are constantly having things going on all the time. So be sure to plug in with Huntress and all the things that we bring to community. With that, thanks everybody for such an incredible CTF. Thanks everybody for an incredible Cybersecurity Awareness Month. And with that, we will see everyone next time.
Good game.